So here's what I'm going to be talking about today. New book, third edition of Master Your Craft. Um, I have another event coming up next week that I want to tell you about. And I have 3 scholarships for Pro Audio Workshop Seeing Sound that I want you to know about. So let's get into this a little bit. Third edition of Master Your Craft. I guess the first one was published about 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago. And since then, I had another update where I added some more content. And in this third update, I really wanted to add some of the most important things that I've learned over the last 3 years that have changed my teaching and changed my own understanding and my own work around some of these topics when it comes to sound system design, sound system optimization. And that was based on a lot of the conversations and interviews that I had done with people like Bob McCarthy, Mauricio Ramirez, Merlijn van Veen, and Jamie Anderson. So, number one, I wanted to add some of the new interviews that I had. And number two, I wanted to update some of the existing content that has changed for me over the years. And what's interesting is that a lot of it didn't actually get bigger, it actually got smaller. Because as my understanding of some of these topics has improved over the last few years, it's actually gotten simpler and more efficient for me, I think, than just getting more complex, which is good, right? So I want to show you a few things inside the book, but first I want to show you where to get the book. So I'm going to copy this link. I'm going to put it into the comments here. And what I want you to know is that the book is going to be 50% off for the next week, basically until next Monday, May 13th, because I want everyone to get a chance to read it, and the best way I can think to do that is by offering a discount for a little while. Oh, it looks like maybe the live stream is breaking occasionally. So let me know if you guys are not hearing me or if it's breaking up or something. I can maybe stop the stream and start it again. Yeah, so let me know in the comments if you can't see me or hear me. But otherwise, it looks like maybe it's working okay. I hope so. Okay, so this is the page. Not much here on this page. You basically just click the button and that's going to take you to the checkout page where you can put in either PayPal or credit card information. By the way, occasionally people ask me if they can pay me some other way, and I say, sure. If there's any way for you to basically get me $14.97 or the equivalent of that through, I don't know, TransferWise, Bitcoin, whatever, I don't care. You can send me an email and we can work it out. Okay. So that's the book, but let's take a look inside the book. So these are some of the books I've written. Here's Master Your Craft. So when you download it, you're going to get an EPUB version and a PDF version. I definitely recommend you use the EPUB version. The PDF version is maybe more accessible to more people, but I also had to make it smaller by making the images lower resolution, and it's just, in my opinion, harder to read. You can open up an EPUB file with, there's lots and lots of free editors out there. So if you just go, to google.com and you search for free e-reader for whatever it is, iPad, iPhone, Mac, Android, you're going to come up with a bunch of results. Okay, so don't be afraid of the EPUB version. That's actually the easier to read version. So you open this up, and here's the table of contents. So for the next few minutes, I just want to take you through some of the new stuff in the book, the additions, the changes, and probably the most exciting parts are the new interviews. So I'll just show you a couple of those. Maybe the most famous person is Jamie Anderson, so let's take a look at that one. Oh, previous page. Save time in sound system tuning with smart checkpoints. So this is not a huge chapter. I really edited it down so it was just some of the best knowledge that I think Jamie shared in that interview, and some of the best stories. So he has some really great stories basically about mistakes he made in sound system tuning and what he learned from that, and how now we can benefit from that. And I guess my biggest takeaway from this chapter is to always build in listening checkpoints. You don't want to just go through your entire sound system tuning procedure and then get to the end of it and realize that one of your microphones is broken, and so you've been, EQing with a broken microphone the entire time, which is the story he tells in this chapter. So that's Jamie Anderson. Another new interview is with Merlijn van Veen, and that's this chapter called "This is Why You Are Over EQing." And we do talk about EQ in this chapter, but I think maybe one of the more surprising parts that I decided to include are the questions that people sent me ahead of time through Facebook that then I asked Merlijn, and I included them because he gives a really great explanation here of what is front-to-back distance ratio. Front-to-back distance ratio is one of the very first things that I talk about in my online course, Pro Audio Workshop Seeing Sound. And so I just love that he took the time to be really clear about what is front-to-back distance ratio. And I'm not going to go into that right now, but it's all right here in this chapter, starting with this paragraph right here, this question. The question is, why is stereo image so much better with point source systems compared to a line array? And then Merlijn goes into front-to-back distance ratio. So those are two interviews I wanted to draw your attention to, and now I'd love to just share with you maybe 2 or 3 of the chapters that I updated. So the first one would be this one: is flat good or bad? In the past, I think I really focused on just same, and I said, hey, don't worry about flat. It doesn't really matter what shape you make with your audio analyzer as long as it's the same everywhere. And while that's still true, I also wanted to include some information about why an audio analyzer that measures flat doesn't sound flat, and why when you EQ something and it sounds flat, it doesn't measure flat on the audio analyzer. So I talk about that in here, and I also give an example of the reasoning behind my target EQ curve, and I also go through some examples of how I adapt this curve depending on whether I'm inside or outside, and how far away I am from the source. All right, what's another chapter I wanted to show you that I updated? Oh, in this chapter, where do I put the measurement mic? I included a new section where I kind of just give some really basic, clear guidance around measurement microphone placement for main sub-alignment. And there's one more chapter I'll tell you about. No, 2 more, quickly. Okay, I made some big updates to how to tune a sound system in 15 minutes. I've been wanting to update this chapter for a while, and now I finally had the tools to do that. So a couple of years ago, I created this thing called the Sound System Tuning Roadmap. And this then became the curriculum for Pro Audio Workshop Seeing Sound. And it is the step-by-step roadmap for how to tune a sound system, how to tune any sound system. And so now I use this roadmap to improve this chapter to have more clarity around just what these steps are in tuning a sound system. So if you guys have never seen this book before, basically I take a really simple design here of a sound system that just has 2 mains, 2 subs, and we talk about what's the most efficient way to go about this. What can we actually get done in 15 minutes? And so the subheadings here are, 4 minutes for verification, just making sure that everything works. And then we have, 4 minutes for aim, and then EQ and crossover alignment. And just these short steps, basically just me wanting to prove to you that even with small amounts of time, we can really make some headway and make some significant improvements in the consistency of our sound systems. Okay, there's one more change I wanted to show you. Oh yeah, so by far, this has been the most popular article on sounddesignlive.com in the last 4 years. I think I published it about 4 years ago. And that just goes to show you that, a lot of people out there are struggling with microphone feedback. And we all do at some level, right? We hate it. We're afraid of it a little bit. And so in this, I took the article and then I expanded it and gave more information on each of the sections. So the part that I really changed for this book is where to insert EQ. So I did talk about EQ in the previous edition of the book, but in this edition of the book, I talk about where to insert that EQ, which I think I wasn't clear about in previous editions of the book. So in general, I would say that probably the worst place to insert the EQ is where it's going to have big global effects. So an example of that might be a graphic EQ just across the master bus that then goes directly to your speakers. That has big global effects. When you are fighting EQ though, the best thing you can do is find out exactly what relationship is causing that feedback, maybe between this microphone and this stage monitor, for example. And then you want to insert that EQ if you're using EQ. This is the very last step in this article, by the way. There's a bunch of other stuff before this. But if you're using EQ, then you want to insert that in this to make the smallest local change you can so that it doesn't screw up everything else. So you're going to insert a filter in this example that I'm suggesting, one microphone and one stage monitor. All you want to do is make a change from the send in between that microphone and that stage monitor. You don't want to affect the entire system, every stage monitor, if possible. And then there's one more thing. Oh yeah, and I added a whole section about ambient changes. So people often have questions about how things are going to change as people fill the room and temperature and humidity changes in the room. And so I tell a story about how that has screwed me up in the past and about how you can make some changes. How you can make some plans for ambient changes and how those could potentially affect microphone feedback. Okay, so this is the new 3rd edition of the book. If you want to get it, there's a link that I posted in the comments here over at sounddesignlive.com. And I don't know why this is here. Oh, probably because I got it from Facebook. Okay. And oh no, it's going to take me away. And it's going to come back again. All right, on to the next thing. So that's master your craft. Pick it up. Let me know what you think. I would love to know what you guys think about the new changes, if they're helping you, if you actually think they're more complicated than they were in the 2nd edition. Second item, a week from now, I'm going to be opening up the next enrollment period for my online course in sound system tuning called Pro Audio Workshop Seeing Sound. So on that day, I'll be holding a public Q&A session, just like the one we're doing now, which, by the way, I forgot to mention. If you have any questions about the book or about any of the stuff that I'm talking about today, please feel free to drop a comment in this video that you're watching right now, and I'll try to check on those occasionally. That's why I keep looking down here, is that's where the video is running. Okay, so a week from now is going to be this event. I'm going to put it in the comment section right now and just write sign up. So that'll be a live Q&A session about Pro Audio Workshop Seeing Sound enrollment opening in a week. Okay, and the last thing I wanted to talk to you about today, the last news item, is I'm really excited that someone has donated money for 3 partial scholarships. This person wished to remain anonymous, But I think this is so cool. So a lot of times I get emails from people who say, hey, I would really love to take this course, but I don't quite have enough money. Finally, I have something for those people, which are these 3 partial scholarships. How much money is it? It's something like on the order of $320 is going to be the amount of the scholarship. So then you'll need to come up with the other $200 or some dollars to pay for the rest of the course. And the reason that this person wanted to do partial scholarships is that they wanted to make sure that the people who enroll in the course are people who really want it. They wanted them to have some skin in the game, basically. So it's not 100% free. You're investing some of your own money into the course. So if you want to apply for the scholarship, and I hope that you will, all you need to do is fill out this form. So I need to put this form into the video. So I'll just write the word, actually let me copy this. Scholarship, and let me grab this link. Okay, so I just put the link for the scholarship as a comment below this video as well. It's really short. It should only take you, 5 minutes, your email address, and then I would love to just know, why is this important to you? I want to make sure that these 3 scholarships go to 3 people who are not only excited to study this stuff, but who really feel like it will make a change in their work and in their lives. Okay, those were the 3 menu items we needed to cover today. Master Your Craft, new edition of the book. A week from now, I'm doing another live Q&A session. And there are 3 scholarships available for Pro-Day Workshop Seeing Sound. Lastly, I'll just tell you that when you get the book, you'll also get the Cliffs Notes. So I have gone to the trouble of taking notes for you. And this document is pretty comprehensive, but it is a lot shorter than the book itself. The book itself is something like 200 pages if you were to print it out. This Cliff Notes version is only 6 pages. So my recommendation is that when you get the book, you actually start with the Cliff Notes, because then you can just sort of scan through this. You can see what information is being shared in each chapter, and then you might say, you know what, I want to read chapter 7 and 8 first. Okay? Because although this book is completely meant to be read from beginning to end, there's some really important stuff here at the beginning that is going to help you understand later chapters. I want you to, consume it in whatever way is most fun for you. So scan through this, take a look at what you think might be fun. Maybe you just want to read these chapters with Bob McCarthy. Take a look at the information that's being shared, and then you can head over to that chapter of the book. All right, let me see if there are any questions here on the video. No. Oh, one more thing I should just share is the price. If you guys are thinking like, oh, I don't know about buying this new 3rd edition of the book, it's 50% off for the next week. So normally the price is $14.97. So half of that is something like, $7.50. And the book is also available on Amazon. So just head over to Amazon.com and search for Nathan Lively or Master Your Craft, and you'll find it. It's the exact same version that you get if you buy it through my site. But some people find it easier to buy through the Amazon website of their own country, so that they can accept what other local payment methods they have and stuff like that. So I don't care where you get it. It's going to be the exact same version. And again, I would love to hear from you guys. So comment on this video and let me know if you have downloaded the book and what you think about some of the new content. All right, thanks for letting me share this new stuff with you today. And I will see you back here in another week. All right, bye everybody.